want me to do a dance? Lauren, you know I can dance. I don't know what she's talking about. All right. So, anyways, the last thing I was saying before we got cut off was that I was saying that for women, they say they want a masculine man, but then when he is masculine at all, right? They think he's too aggressive. Or now there's like this trend of like any man that's masculine is toxic. Like really?
Really?
Yeah, but I'm still
That's
trying
what
to
you
figure.
hear?
Yeah, but now I was going after the women before I got cut off. Maybe that's why the Lord Jesus said, "Don't do it, man." Because I was gonna say that women, when it comes to women being more masculine, it's like they're trying to compete with men now. And for all the women that were commenting earlier when we did it part one, they're all talking about, you want to be independent, you want to make your own money, you want to do your own thing, which I completely understand this, but you have to really figure out what it is. Do you want? Do you want a man to hold it down and then you take care of the home, or do you want to work too? Because then that can cause some friction.
So, I mean, I'll
You don't
say,
agree with that, huh?
I think you can cut that all out. Like work aside and who works out of the home and who takes care of who. You can leave that all alone because I could still be the wage earner of the home
Mm-hmm.
and still come home to a masculine, right? Because the only way
Mm-hmm.
that we get to sink back into our femininity is when we have a true masculine at home. Now, a big issue is, what does that look like? What
Well, I mean,
makes a man weak? And, I was just doing my research and came across an article that said, which
but
I
now,
agree with, and I think the
so
numbers are higher, but, men don't get complimented enough,
thank
back
you.
to your dating scenario,
Mm-hmm.
and men are seeking validation from their partners. And,
Okay, so someone said that they don't want to need a man to make their own money. See, but that's where the problem starts, because if you're saying I want to be independent, I don't need a man, I want to make my own money,
right.
that doesn't count if you've married or whatever. This is it. Now you've been married, now you're single again. Now you have to make your own income because you didn't just find a man off the boat, right? So you
And
have to find a new
I don't think
guy.
any of this has to do with who makes the money, who
No,
works
yeah, money is
outside of the
nothing
home.
to do with it.
I mean, because if we both do, right, then whose home? I think a big misconception is that because men are supposed to be the providers, they're going out and they're working a job and they're coming home and saying, "Look, honey, I worked all day. I'm just going to put my feet up. I'm going to put the sports on. I don't have to do shit at home." Right. And so
No,
then
no, no, no.
women have all the responsibility of the child rearing and the dinners
Don't
and the
agree with that.
shopping.
Yeah.
Right.
100%.
And
I can understand. So like I never wanted to be the guy that would come home and then drink some beers, sit on the couch, watch some sports, and then
yeah.
pass out, because then he gave all his good energy to the job, and then you still have a family to take care of. You still have a wife at home or a woman at home that wants your attention. So, but I guess I can go both ways. But for women, they're at this point where like I don't need a man. Well, it's one or the other. Either you don't need a man, do you want one, or you don't want one, and it has nothing to do with money, 100%. But what you said right there, if the woman is the actual breadwinner, the breadwinner, then it's very hard to find a man that feels secure with that kind of relationship, right?
Right.
Or there's guys that are not, forget about they're not even secure at all. They just want a woman to take care of them. They don't want to work at all. You know what those guys are. Some of you've dated them. But what I'm saying is, for the most part, it's hard to find a man that's willing to do that, because he's always going to feel like not as significant. He's not going to feel like he's holding it down, because unfortunately for women, not all, okay, so don't kill me, women, but a lot of women talk a lot about on social about men sending them gas money, or when's the last time a man take care of this, and men need to buy me that, and men need to get me this. That's all about materialistic things.
Yeah. I mean, let's not discount. There's toxic women out there too.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. And I will say what I was saying earlier, which I think Lauren disagreed with me, is that women today, the masculine side that I see, is that they're trying to, and I did a video about playing too many games, but the biggest thing that I see is that they're trying to be too much in their masculine energy. They want to prove to the man, like, you gotta basically chase me down, you gotta do all these things, jump through all these hoops, and it's like, that's, to me, like, that's just too much. Like, it's too much.
so I think we can both agree then there's toxicity on both
Yeah,
sides.
for
Like,
sure.
men don't want that kind of woman. And, you know, the women that you hear from don't want a toxic man that, you know, just wants to
Well,
drink
let's
beer
talk
and
about
put
the
his feet up.
compliments.
But
Compliments. Like, even a dog needs a pat on the head every once in a
yeah,
while. I'm a very confident man,
that's-
right? Very confident.
I'm a very
But
confident woman.
right, but I still would like to hear a compliment or say
Yeah.
something, right? Because it still makes me feel like, who cares about the rest of the world, right? It's just me and you at this moment. I need you to make me feel secure, make me feel like I'm the guy for you, right? And vice versa for women too. You know, like we do it more. I think men
So
do it more.
it's more common for women to receive a compliment,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Mhm.
men are expected to compliment women,
Right.
but I think women forget that men need the same. God, they have feelings. Like they need the same validation. They
Yeah, ladies,
need
I have
to
feelings.
be complimented as well. Like we need to step up our game as women and treat our men right.
Right. Exactly. And I think women, if they've been in a marriage, because most women that I follow or they follow me back, it's the women that've been married before, they have kids already, so they're on to a new thing, right? They're independent now, they got to do their own thing, et cetera, et cetera. But what I think is crazy is that I understand this, but at the same time, right, you have to show some kind of something to that man, because if you don't, right, and I know this, there's other women that will do that, but it's not about false compliments, right? It's not about fake compliments or just
Right.
you're good looking and you're this and you're that. No, a woman that actually takes the time to really know you are, try to know you and try to give you compliments based on what they've seen and what you talk about, what they know about you, right? Whereas, right, you said it, men are expected to do this, right? But then women don't like this because they got all these guys in their DMs. Hey, beautiful. Hey, hottie. Hey,
Right.
sexy. Hey, this. And then it gets so overwhelming that now my compliment seems nothing compared to all the other guys that have already said this. And if a guy is just complimenting you on your looks only, that's a red flag.
Red flag.
100% red flag.
100%.
And any woman that doesn't agree with that, you're crazy. But then you go post selfies looking for that energy and that attention because you want guys to say that, but then you get mad when they do it. Well, you post it, that's what you're asking for, right? And if you post more often, right, you're constantly posting selfies, then all you want is attention. I one woman blocked me because of this, because I called her out on that. She
I
basically
can see
said
that.
she does all these gym selfies, and then she's like, "What are you trying to say?" And then blocked me because I called her out on it.
Okay. So I mean, this is a tough one for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I really teeter on the line of promoting my business and what I
Mm-hmm.
do and, you know, gaining traction, right? So I don't like the attention.
You have to, especially if you're good.
I was in a marriage that was so toxic that I literally would hide in the closet to dress. And now all of a sudden, like, I own a lingerie store and I wear lingerie and I use it for empowerment. And it was a tool for me to regain my confidence and sexuality. And so to start posting pictures of myself or to start putting myself out there for my brand, you know, has been the biggest hurdle for
Mm-hmm.
me. And I'm not looking for attention, you know. Of course I want like brand attraction and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
Well,
I think there's also something to say that, you know, there's a couple of sides of social media. One, it's a way to keep in touch with people. You know, for me, I moved very, very far away from home. And so, you know, my friends 2,000 miles away want to see my face. They want to see what I'm doing. It's a way for them to feel like I'm still connected to them,
right.
but it is not attention seeking.
Well,
And
maybe you'll like this since we're talking a little business, but also talking about feminine and masculine. So in the corporate world, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? In the business world, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. If no one knows who you are, I don't care what business you run, no one knows you.
right.
So the goal is to get people to know you, and that doesn't mean you have to go to all these networking events and meet all these people because I don't believe in networking events. But to go back to what you're saying though, what to the point of how many selfies is too many? Where now you're just doing it for the attention
Right.
to get validation, right, and whatnot.
So, I mean, does that come down to like an age thing because I have kids in their 20s, I have kids in their teens, and I have young ones too. And they're growing up in this age of social media where this is the norm, right? This might feel awkward for us, like putting yourself out there or being on camera or, whatever, but this is their norm. And so.
Thank you for complimenting my classes. Okay. What I was going to say, so for me, like me personally, if I'm interested in a woman at all, first thing I do is I look at her social profile. If she's like overly sexual, that's a turn off for me. Now, what they're gonna say, men will be like, why would that be, bro? Because this is who she is. She wants the attention. She's overly sexual.
Okay, well,
that reason.
That's actually questions on that.
Oh, because you're gonna disagree because you do leather and lace and you got the photos,
Well,
but that's for your business.
Because I'm confident in sexuality and I promote it and teach it, and I want people to find security in their sexuality, both men and women.
Well, Lauren says
what would constitute then? Like, are we just talking like nudes or?
No. Well, yeah, like lots of cleavage, lots of booty. Every woman that takes a photo showing the booty shots, you know what I'm saying? They purposely take the photo so that they show the booty. You're gonna get sexual attention from that. You're not gonna get this guy that says, "Oh, this looks like my next wife. This looks like my next queen. This looks like the girl. This looks like the woman I want to be with." So we were saying like you were saying something earlier about love. Like, what were you saying? We were talking about about cheating. I think we were talking about before we got on the call. I can't remember, but I do remember like, oh yeah, every man that cheats, he's just in love with all these women. That's what it is. He's in love with all of them. No, he's in love with none of them. He's basically doing it for his own satisfaction, right? But to go back to none of the women I hear tell me that men are feminine. I see it all online, that all these feminine energy, and a lot of it comes back to financial. If a man doesn't want to take you out to eat and wants to always buy you things and send you and like go on trips with you, they consider that.
I don't know what groups you're in,
but I'm telling you, if
what dating sites are you on?
They think masculinity is a guy spending money on you.
Absolutely not.
Masculine to me is protector, right? Leader. I guess providers in there, but it's not for those reasons because I'm just gonna buy you things. But because for me personally, I'm old school, so I wouldn't want my woman to work. But if she wants to, if that's what she wants to do, then go ahead and do it.
Would you allow it? That.
Yeah,
if
she wants to.
I just did a post this week that, because I have a day job. I'm an accountant, and then I also run, like, I'm a serial entrepreneur, obviously. So I come home and I'm on the phone. Sometimes late at night, I'm still answering phone calls for Leather and Lace or catching up with maybe you. I mean, we're entrepreneurs, right? There's no hours when you're an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneurs, we don't own clocks.
Right. And so it'd be like 11 o'clock at night. And it dawned on me, like, I used to get yelled at because I started his business and ran it. And we actually both quit our jobs at the same time and both started businesses at the same time. And so I was generating leads and referrals, and he would yell at me, like, it's after 7 o'clock, get off the phone. What are you doing on the phone? And it wasn't maybe it was insecurity. I don't know. I mean,
definitely 100% insecurity. Everything you're telling me so far sounds like insecurity.
But the fact that I was doing it to build his business, to build my business, to get us further ahead in life, and the fact that he couldn't see that and support it, I think women feel very unsupported when they do have a career, and maybe they have a stronger career than their man.
Right. Oh, I've met. I used to train when I used to run a sales company. I've had women that would work for me, and they're making 80,000, 6 figures easily. Their man's not. Right.
Yeah.
And it caused a lot of friction in their relationships because whether the man wants to admit it or not, if your woman's taking home all the money, that makes a certain man feel a type of way. Right.
So maybe then the conversation should shift to just individual security. Maybe that's everybody's problem right now is they haven't done the work on themselves to find their own security.
Thank you. That's 100%. I think a lot of people jump into relationships before they fully healed. So they're just want to get in a relationship just to be in a relationship because they don't want to be known as the person that doesn't have anybody.
And there's a lot of family. There's nothing there's nothing, there's not such a thing as 100% healed.
Yeah.
You can enter a relationship not healed and work on it together. And, you know, if it's the right relationship, you'll trigger each other.
Lack of
right?
money is the root of all evil.
Ugh.
But go ahead. No, I'm just reading the comments.
The
Someone
lack
said
of
money's
money.
the root of all evil. Lack of money is the root of all evil.
I think money is the root of all evil.
Lack. And I'll explain why. I'm not just saying it. I'm saying it because lack means people, when they don't have money, they will do things that they wouldn't do normally because they don't have money, which creates evil. But
I will argue that because,
go ahead.
Okay, I'll tell you all right now, I have a lack of money right now. Right? My divorce cost a shit ton of money.
Oh, I know. I've been in divorce. It's not cheap.
And I have thought about doing some unsavory things to make $1.
Yeah.
However, I said no.
But,
so you can have a lack of money and still find other ways, you know, other than doing something quote unquote evil or, you know, something beneath your morale.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, if you think about it, here's my point. Think about a pastor, right, for a church. I would assume he's on the highest morality, not all of them, because we know there's a lot of weirdos out there.
Actually, I'll argue that one, but yeah.
Right, there's not a lot. But you would assume that a pastor would have good morals, right, for the most part. Well, then, does moral equal money, right? He's morally right, but is he rich as a result? Is he making tons of money as a result, right? No. So, like, when it comes to the money and the morality thing, if money just went to people that were just good people, then basically
we all wish life was fair. That's not how it works.
Not how it works. Money goes to people who want it. But to go back to the point, because a lot of women are talking about the money right now.
Why? Why are they
yes,
why are they honing in on the money aspect of this?
There you go. I think there's one thing that we hit. One, you said that we haven't healed. We're learning this. People don't heal yet before they jump into a new relationship. Second, if everything is about money and what he can provide or whatnot, that starts off the problem. This is why I did get married to my ex, because she was with me when I lost my job, living off unemployment, buying burrito dinners for us on credit cards. So this is when I was like at the lowest point in my life, and she still had my back and supported me, and we blew up and built a business together, right? Because she came from a place of, she was not there for the money. Right. Later on, the money came because she supported me, and I am still a true believer that a great woman behind a man can do impossible things. But I think also for the same thing for the man, if you support your woman, she can do powerful things. But unfortunately, there is a majority of men that do not want their women to do that. They want them to be at home in their, like, what do you call it? Dragging their knuckles and just work around the house and just do everything, right? He considers that's her job because I provide. There's one woman that I'm not going to say her name, that she's not, I don't even think she's on the podcast. No, she's not. But like, she's with a guy that basically sold her the dream because he's the provider. And as soon as he got her, now he's completely shifted. Now he's completely, it's like everything he sold.
I know a lot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah.
So that's also dangerous. The woman is just looking for a guy to provide. This guy might got the money. He's buying you technically, right? But he thinks now, because he is the main provider, that he now makes the rules for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I think everyone.
If women are just going to go at this from like a monetary position, you're obviously going to have to eat all those red flags, because that's what comes along.
That's why I wore the red for the red
flags. Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if this was masculine enough color. I should have wore pink. Then people talk trash about that.
Really?
But anyway,
pink is so sexy on a man.
I want.
Actually, does that make a man feminine to wear pink?
Well, if any of you guys watch my daughter, I did an interview with my daughter, right? And I asked her, do I deserve love? Yes. And then I asked her, what kind of woman should I be with? She said a nice one, not a desperate one, not a thirsty one, right? But the key word that she started with is nice. Mm-hmm. Nice. And too many women don't want to be nice because they're afraid that if they do come from their feminine side, that they're going to get played. Yeah. Or that the guy's going to do X, or he's going to do this to you. I understand the fear. But then
we've all been burned.
Everybody, me included, I've been burned. But at the same time, though, you're not going to find and attract the right guy, because you're not going to find a masculine guy, because he's not going to want that, right? He's not going to want a woman that basically doesn't come from a feminine energy and isn't sweet and caring and nurturing. You basically are now a dude. And that's why I posted the other day, like, women out here are acting like dudes right now.
So you're looking for a woman to be vulnerable, and I think women are looking for a man to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I think this could be a key missing link. Like nobody is vulnerable with each other
Yeah.
anymore, right? Everybody
We're
has their
always
guard
scared.
up.
Yeah,
Everybody's scared. They're terrified, right? And so I don't know if that just looks like a bunch of masking or
communication is huge, Tina. That
right.
I think it's a huge reason why relations don't last, because they don't communicate what the problem is. And I'll blame women for this because we can't read your mind. So like if you have a problem,
Absolutely.
say
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Say
Whoa,
it.
whoa. You know, most guys I talk to are like, I wouldn't know how to communicate if you know.
You're not happy. You love your dog, but you're not happy with your dog. Someone said I'm happy with my dog.
No.
No, but I do
Oh,
notice that a lot of
why?
single. I do
I
notice a
have a
lot of
dog.
single women
I'm
have
not
dogs.
happy sleeping alone. Like,
Thank you, thank you. So okay, tell her,
I'll
tell
tell
her,
it.
because
Like,
so many women that I know that are single, they're loving them the cats, right? But majority more have dogs. So I posted one time, hey ladies that all single ladies with a dog or something, like, how you doing or whatever, and they're like, what are you trying to say? I just noticed that women that they start to, if they're not having successful relationships, they go get a dog, and now this is basically their new love of their life. That's is that
it's a distraction.
it's a distraction. There you go. I like that. But it's not, because everybody wants to be
And
with somebody. Yes.
you know what? Because a dog provides unconditional love.
Yeah. It doesn't talk back. It doesn't say anything.
Right.
It doesn't.
You
It
don't
doesn't give
have
you
to have a
crap.
conversation with your dog. You don't
Yeah.
have to be vulnerable with your dog. You know, like.
Well, if we're gonna go that route with the dog, I just seen a whole video about a guy that bought a plastic doll, and that's his girlfriend.
Don't get me
And he goes.
started because
He dresses
I own an adult store, so you know.
You guys, you guys sell those? You
I
sell
can
them?
order them. I don't sell them. Like.
Okay. No, this man is dressing her up. He comes home
Uh-huh.
every day. He gives her kisses. He says
I
goodbye. He
think
tells her he's
they're
gonna leave.
actually even married.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That was the video I seen. Yeah, he's married to his doll.
Yeah.
It's like
sad.
I think at some point, I think if you're at a point where you've been hurt and you're in some pain, you want to believe you don't need a man, or you want to believe you don't need a woman.
100%.
But that's not true.
I think people are lying to themselves.
I lied to myself.
I don't need this, but we still want it.
When I first got separated, then divorced, I said I was never going to get married again. I said I was never going to have kids again. It was like a hands down, no matter what. If you would have talked to me at that time, I would have been like, nope, never going to happen. It's not going to happen. Now I've changed, because you know what? If you love a person, right? If you love a person and you still have the ability capable of having a child together, that's a beautiful thing, right? Mm-hmm. It's more commitment than marriage. Let me just say that right now. I've made sure I've said that so many times. Having a child with someone, that person's in your life forever. So for all you ladies watching this, that man or that woman that you have a kid with is in your life until you die. So
whether you like him or not,
doesn't matter. He's in your life forever. Doesn't matter. So when it comes to marriage, right? I was like, I'm not gonna get married again, right? Because you're going through that pain of divorce, and it's like, this was a waste of my time, or whatever your feelings are at that time, right? But we all want to be with somebody. Right. So now I'm open to, like, I would get married again, because if I love that person, why would I not want to be married again, right? Like, why would I not want to do that, right? So I had to heal. I had to, like, go through
and that's what I was gonna say. It sounds like personal growth to me.
Yeah, I had to heal. And even some of my guy friends, like, man, you a grown man now. Like, what happened to you, boy? Like, you have changed, because you go through things, right? You see things, and you start to say, come on, man, you got to be open. You cannot be afraid. You got to be open.
I will say a lot of people don't see the same things. And I know, you and I have talked a bit, and we see things, but we also try.
Let me get my water. Yeah.
And there's a big difference in people that just go through a breakup and then just right back on the apps and just it's just a cycle, right? And people are not doing the work on themselves. They're not finding out who they are and what they want. It's really important to find out what you want. What do you want in a partner? And I think it becomes less about the feminine and the masculine. Just what do you want in a partner? Because I think a lot of those barriers just are broken down. I remember right after my separation, I was talking to a guy, and all he wanted was to be a stay-at-home dad. And I thought, this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Like, that was such the complete opposite of everything I had known for 20 years. Like, it just didn't even make sense to me. And so
you said 1950s, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that era?
Well,
Nothing.
I,
I would think.
I'm not going to say anything is wrong with the era, but our society can't sustain, our economy can't sustain that. We don't live in the same world anymore.
But that goes back to money.
It does. I mean, it goes back to politics and government and a lot of things that we can't
Yeah.
control. And maybe it's an ideal, but I'm gonna bust a bubble here. And the 50s weren't as great as everybody thinks it was. I'm very close with my grandmother, and I talked to her about what it was actually like to be like a young married woman in the 50s.
What she said.
And
I'm very interested.
it's not everything that people make it out to be. It was still a very, very difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
And even though they didn't have to go to work, they also didn't have the what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. Like, jeez.
They didn't have any life.
I don't want to say like the allowance to it, but I mean, shit, I keep seeing, sorry, all that's running through my head is all these TikTok videos that I see of the shirts that show the years when women could vote, the years when women could wear pants, the years when, women were allowed. So I would say like women weren't allowed to work. They weren't allowed to have careers. They could have a job, like, but it was actually like you couldn't live life as a woman without a man.
Yeah.
And so that became the only thing that was important to you.
So the women at that time were pretty much in a tough position. So women are now more independent. So that's where the masculine energy comes from, because now they're like, well, women that are watching this, you figured out you really don't need a man. I've told every woman that you don't need a man.
Look, we don't
anybody.
need anybody.
You don't need anybody. You don't need anything.
No.
Right? You don't need a man. You don't need a person, but you want it.
So
you
then
desire it.
let's shift then. Like, what do you want?
Yeah, what do you want?
Maybe people should start talking about what we want.
What do you want?
I'm happy for a woman or a man to say, I don't need, but I want. And
I like
it's
that.
okay to want.
It's okay to want. And I think if men are watching this, or if they watch the replay, you should be the same. Like, you should want things.
What do you want?
Don't just be
in a woman.
Right. What do you want in a woman? That's period. Like, what do you want in a woman? Don't just, I want a woman. What does that look like? How does she act? What is her personality? What's her type?
Right. So are they just, are men, and I talk to men in all different generations, right? Like,
I'm disappointed in men, because they're very like, and I've met some very successful men. I've met some very influential men.
Sure.
And when it comes down to it, a lot of them are still on that sexual mindset. They're still about what, I
women
want that sexual.
Women are hands down sexualized.
Yeah, exactly.
And objectified.
Yeah, and of course, I'm not gonna agree with that. I have a daughter, so like, I would not want my daughter sexualized. So, I don't overly sexualize women. I don't talk sexually to women unless they start that conversation and there's a little feedback there, because it's not how I start. And most dudes online are just being perverted, and they're basically sending the dick.
Do you remember how this whole podcast, like, the idea of us doing this together was because I replied to your dick pic.
The dick pic
video where I was like, wait a second.
I'm so proud.
We gotta talk about this.
I'm so proud of that video. Every time I post on Facebook, no one says anything. No one comments. I know it's being watched, but no one says anything. I put a lot of energy into that video because I wanted to really insult men. Like, dude, they do not want to see that, and you should be invited for that. You should not. I don't even know why men do that. Like, it just makes no sense.
Well, I think I gave you the response why they do, though. They're looking for attention. They're looking for a compliment.
Oh,
they're looking for validation.
Okay, so a lot of them are not getting a lot of validation.
No, they're not. I mean, first of all, don't do it unsolicited.
So if they're doing it for that reason, that's terrible.
I want to hear from one man that has gotten a positive response after an unsolicited dick pic.
Well, if he did, that woman is a red flag. That woman is a red flag. If she got excited and said, "Oh, baby, what's up?" Like, okay, that's not good. That's not good. That's thirsty. That's exactly what my daughter said. Do not be with a thirst trap.
She's that crazy cat lady.
Yeah, no, that's not good. I mean, but like for me, I've had that happen to me too. Though women have sent some stuff to me, like and they've sent some graphic stuff to me. So
Really?
it's not, it goes both ways. Yeah, it goes both ways.
I mean, I'm
And
happy to hear that. Go girls.
yeah. I mean, but like it doesn't matter if I know you, it makes sense. But if I don't know
It's
you, and then
still
you
really
send it to me,
unsolicited and it's
that's still
inappropriate.
weird for me. That is still weird for me. I'm like, whoa, that was weird. Okay, I
I'm
didn't,
not
I
gonna
didn't
lie,
ask
I've gotten a couple too. So
yeah. Every woman in here, I think, has. I don't think
I,
unless you don't have
I
men on
didn't
your
mean for
profile.
men.
Oh, you got it from women too? Oh, okay, yeah. We're in a new era, man.
Oh
We're
yeah.
in a new,
Let's
and
go.
I've been definitely been
Equality for
solicited
all.
by men. I've definitely, I never had any men send me sexual stuff, but they start conversations with me. I'm like, bro, I'm not gay, so let it go. It's not happening. Never gonna happen. I appreciate the compliment, but it's never gonna happen, bro. So let it go. You know what I'm saying? All right. So, anyways, I think we've hit a lot of good points. I think like if we do a refresher, I think we're learning that, heal first, right? Heal
Yeah.
before you get into anything. I think second, I think we need to know what we want,
Yep.
right? Be very specific with what you want. And once you know that's not it, don't keep entertaining it because it might not be it's not gonna change, right? For any woman that thinks you can change a man, you cutting your throat right there. That's never gonna happen.
No.
You got to take what you got. If that's who that person is, man or woman,
And
that's who they
any
are.
man that thinks he can rope a woman in and control her.
Yeah. Wait. So what do you mean by like that?
Well, just like I said, like my ex would yell at me and like he wanted me to be less than I was meant to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
like,
a toxic man. Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to manipulate you. He wanted to control you because he's insecure and he had to keep making you believe that you were second best or you're not good enough because then
you're a
that's his
woman,
way.
you can't be more than a man,
Yeah.
We need to stop hearing that too.
No, here's one thing since we were talking about my daughter, I learned early in her age, like when she was younger, we all as a generation, we still do this. We always compliment the girls. They're cute, they're pretty, beautiful, right? When you have a daughter, you constantly telling her she's so beautiful. But I learned that you got to also tell her that she's smart, confident, intelligent, she's brave.
It's not about
Those
your
kind of things.
looks.
Not because then she's only going to think her whole worth is just on how she looks.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's why you see a lot of young girls over sexualize themselves because they think that's what they have to do to get a male's attention.
Right.
And my daughter killed it on that last thing. She said, one thing I taught her was don't chase money, don't chase men. Perfect. That's exactly, I'm glad that's exactly what I wanted to hear because she is exactly like that. She is definitely like that. Any guy, any boy that tries to get her attention, boy, you better get to work because she is not dumb. She ain't gonna play games with you, and she has to be into you. So all your little toys and games, all the little things you do, then she's not gonna fall for that.
It sounds like our girls need to get together. I'm raising some strong, confident girls over here, and it can be a very fine line for me because in the lingerie business, like that's all I got over here. So the girls are very used to it, and it's part of our daily life. But
tell everybody, where is your location?
I'm in Rogers Park on Clark and Devon.
Clark and Devon.
And we're open almost
all right
24/7. It's great. So,
that's amazing. Yeah, that's amazing because when we first talked like months ago, you were still trying to
struggling,
figure out this. No, trying to figure out your structure. Yeah. So I'm glad that you finally have now made a decision. This is what we are. This is what we're doing, and I love that you got on the podcast with me because I wanted to hear from you because people might look at your stuff and they might hate on it because they think you're being overly sexualized, but that's not what your business is about. It's about women coming from their feminine side and feeling good about themselves. It has nothing to do with men's attention or any of that. I mean, but that would be nice too if they're doing that for their man.
I mean, I wanted women to feel and experience what I did, and finding lingerie was that self-confidence.
Do women even wear lingerie anymore?
Sure. Actually, it's really popular to wear it out.
Mm-hmm. And like just wear the lingerie only?
I mean, not the super sexy stuff, but I mean, hell, I've been to an event with you wearing a bodysuit with a blazer over it. Like there's ways to style this.
Yeah. Okay. I was hoping that would you make, because I was like, whoa, is that why? Because I have seen some people go out like that. But the point is, like, yeah, you're doing it. But like for me personally, I asked that question because I'm really interested. Like, you don't meet too many women that still are into that lingerie and dressing up and being sexy under, because that to me is very attractive. It shows me a lot about a woman. She takes care of herself if she takes the time to put on lingerie, right, for her, because she's trying to have something sexy.
Right. We
Not
want
just
to
some
try
purple
for our men.
Right, purple underwear with a red bra. That don't work.
Not really. Get a matching
No.
set, honey, please.
Yeah, get a matching set, please. Please do that. Please do that. Anyways, all right. Well, anyway, I think we had a great conversation. I would love to do it again with you. I think it took a little bit. We had a couple little
I know.
technical
The internet
difficulties.
sucks.
So now I'm going to have to save both videos, put them into one, and then reshare it. You know?
Need help with that? I know somebody.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah, I know you know. Yeah. But let's talk more offline. I appreciate everybody that got on the pod live and made your comments. Me and her are going to go back and go comment on the comments. And we'll see you guys again.
And I would love to hear from anybody with questions too.
Yeah. We got to do an event soon, though.
Yeah.
Definitely at your place.
Oh, my grand opening is coming May 3rd.
May 3rd is your grand opening?
Yep.
Are you going to have any Mexicans there? Because it is Cinco de Mayo weekend.
I mean, I'll think about it.
You should have one Mexican there. That's it. Just me.
All right. If you don't mind a little burlesque.
I don't mind anything. No, I'm not. I think I'm a masculine guy. I think I am.
I think you can handle it.
I think I am.
All right.
Yeah. All right, cool.
You're invited.
Appreciate all you guys getting on. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Bye, Joe.